Hey, you know me. I love comic books.
Yes, me too.
I also love comic books.
You know what, though? With all the comic books we read and review, I don't have time for my true passion, video games.
That's definitely not true.
That's why I want to tell you all about this week's sponsor, the Gaming Ride Home podcast, which has video game news, rumors, reviews, release dates, everything posted every day at 5 p.m. Perfect for your drive home.
We live in New York. We don't have cars.
When I'm driving home in my car, I love to listen to host Kyle Hilliard chat down the day's video game topics, and the great news is the podcast is only 15 or 20 minutes long.
Oh, you could have just said you listened to it on the subway or something.
Basically, Kyle is online all day catching up on video games, so I don't have to. And then I can go home and play all my video games instead of reading my dumb comics.
What is your deal?
2 years of podcasts and 25 million downloads can't be wrong. If you're a gaming fanatic, then catch up on the latest gaming news every day. Search your podcast app right now and subscribe to Gaming Ride Home.
Alex, I need you to apologize to comic books, the concept of comic books right now.
I'm so sorry.
That feels better.
Welcome to Comic Book Club. Put your hands together for your hosts, Alex, Justin, and Pete.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Comic Book Club. I'm Alex.
Justin.
And I'm Pete.
And that's our man in the booth, Ronnie Rotten.
The most rotten Ronnie in the world.
Thank you guys so much for coming out today. As we all know, it is the first night of Mardi Gras.
Yes. Technically the only night, I believe.
And I gotta say, Pete had this bit. He's just backstage that was gross, and we are not going to do it. It was putrid, Pete.
Putrid.
And that you even thought about it. It was something about throwing beads to superhero ladies. Disgusting. Absolutely disgusting.
Wow.
He was all in on it, and I was like, no way am I doing that.
You're an awful person.
Am I?
And that's
or are you the awful person for coming up with that bit?
how are you going to be cutting loose on tonight's show for Mardi Gras?
Oh man,
Mardi Gras traditional. You got a little wild parades happen
Sure.
down.
Well, what I always do is I bake myself a king cake, and then I bake the Scarlet Witch's children into the cake.
Jesus, what are you talking about?
Like a little baby in the cake.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, no, I know the traditional king cake.
Right.
You brought up something horrifying. Pete, how are you going to be cutting loose on today's show? Tonight's show.
I'm just going to do what I always do.
Ooh, let us inside your world. What does that mean? How does the actor prepare for his performance on an evening like
Pete
tonight?
has been eating muffaletta sandwiches all day long.
Ooh, muffaletta. Yeah. We had a small Mardi Gras celebration at work, which involved wings for some reason and a very strong punch.
Oh,
Yeah.
that explains that podcast we taped earlier.
That's exactly right, where everything was just right.
Now, here's another podcast we're going to be taping right here, right now, with one of our favorite guests on the show. He's a comedian all around town. Ladies and gentlemen, Nat Towsen! Hello! Hey, Comic Cat! Oh.
I think we've had Nat on too many times lately. Yeah. He's a little too comfortable.
Oh, speaking of too comfortable.
No, he's wearing a comic hat. That was fun.
Yeah, it's Mardi Gras, baby.
Yeah, oh, right.
Yeah,
there
he was
go.
really cutting loose.
Everybody's doing that down at the Leans.
Mm-hmm.
What?
The Leans.
The Leans? That's how you're New Orleans.
Yeah, New Orleans. It's short. I don't want to waste.
Yeah, that's usually how people shorten it, too.
Yes. Now, Nat, there's something we have to get out of the way up here, up front, right at the top of the show, because I know it's going to crop up in the middle of me saying something else otherwise.
Yes.
Pete challenged you to something about a year ago at this point.
You've been dodging me for a year.
Pete, I know you are asleep at the current time. I can tell by your physical position.
Yeah.
Hey, man, don't yell at me because there's a lowrider couch.
All I see is I look over at this couch. Justin's sitting like a normal person.
Like a good boy. Like a good, attentive boy. And what are you over here slouching?
You do not need to lay out like that.
Fuck you, man.
At
you
that
sit
point,
on
like
this couch.
The way your body is, that has to be uncomfortable.
Pete, posture projects good personality.
You know.
And I think you should, you're slouching like a slow sloozer.
So anyways, Nat, you said that what you were working
Pete, sorry, I
on.
didn't see you back there. Your head is so low.
What you
To
were
the
working
couch.
on was going to change the internet forever. It was going to.
I think I might have said the world forever, actually.
The
just to-
world, yeah.
Wow, you're raising your own stakes.
And
I'm just gonna sit here.
I said, well, that's ridiculous. So let's do a friendly wager of.
This
punching,
is not a friendly wager, by the way.
punching you
unfriendly wager.
in the face if you are wrong.
I believe it was the stomach.
By the way, I just want to mention,
stomach?
just
Okay.
in the way that you're sitting right now, very cool.
Hey guys, I'm just your assistant principal here to just check in and make sure everyone's doing good and feeling great.
Did you know that Shakespeare was the original comic book podcaster?
You guys like rap music? Well, Shakespeare had a little bit to say about rap.
Go on.
You guys like superheroes. You know who the first superhero was? That's right, Jesus Christ.
Jesus Christ. I'm also a youth pastor, and I
Yes.
shouldn't be in your classroom.
My favorite part of the New Testament is when Jesus gets bitten by a radioactive spider.
He does
No?
come back to
All right.
life pretty quick.
Yeah, he
Yes.
does.
He's got
They-
like
well,
a
they
Jean Grey turnaround rate
Yeah,
when it comes
classic
to
Marvel Comics resurrection thing.
Yeah, they're like, you know, back in biblical times, they were like, Jesus is dead. They're like, come on, he's just going to be
Bring
back
it
in like
back.
3
Yeah.
issues.
Yeah, I don't buy it.
So anyway,
And now he's got powers. Sorry, go on.
Yeah.
when would you like your punch in the stomach is the question.
So, no, wait,
So, hold
yeah,
on.
lay it out.
Alex, please, go ahead.
Yeah, well,
Take your time.
you work at a place called Botnik Studios.
Have not been fired.
Well, we're waiting
Congrats.
until after the show. So Botnik Studios, which helps power. I'm not going to describe this
That's
well.
great.
You go ahead.
We use like basically different types of AI and predictive technologies to write
Predictive
comedy.
text,
Yeah,
that's
predictive
right.
text. We use RNNs, like neural networks. We use all different kinds of sort of computer software and prediction to generate comedy and other media.
Right, like
And
those
I'm-
tweets where everybody's definitely training bots to do things.
Alex, you're pushing my buttons, buddy.
There's a dark side to it.
So you're not only for robots taking our jobs, you're actually helping that happen.
I think this was the initial attack that started this
Frustration.
fight in the
Right.
first part where Pete accused me of...
If he looks at you in the way that old-timey cartoon characters would see meat when they look at something when they're hungry, Pete looks at you and sees the cell phone not turning on with the way he wants it to.
Yes, exactly.
It's a frustrated technology thing.
So at Botnik Studios, you created and fundraised for a. You were right there. First beer.
I was laughing and I poured beer on myself. Go on.
Is it a little too bitter for you? The taste of beer.
Yeah, you know, I've only had Zima so far,
Yeah.
and
Okay.
Yeah, we
I've
should
had
say-
sips
different.
of my dad's beer.
Matt's
obviously,
having his
but-
first full beer, so let's
like
Mardi
this
Gras.
stuff?
Matt's 16, and he's
Yeah.
here with his robot future to ruin our adult lives.
So you created an album. You did a predictive text album, which was great, super fun.
Thank you very much. Yeah, we did an album. Each song is created in a different way. Some of them are just predictive text. One of them was we trained a neural network on dozens of country songs, and then we had it spit out individual lines that could be in a country song, and then we referenced a rhyming dictionary to find which lines would actually rhyme with each other, and then we structured that into a song, and then we recorded that song.
Yeah.
So that's just like one
So
example.
fun.
So the bet that you
And
made.
that's Old Town Road, right?
That's Old Town Road. Yeah, exactly. We were very successful.
So there you go.
Yeah.
Bet solved.
He changed the world.
So the bet. Remind me if I'm wrong about this, Pete. But the bet was. He said, "I think the world is. We're going to change the world, right?
Right.
And you were like, if the world is the same afterwards, I get to punch you.
That's right.
Is that
Stomach,
correct?
Yeah.
That was the bet. Would you say, Nat, that the world is the same before and after your album was released?
You know, it's a good question because, Pete, let's stand up for this too, because I think we're ready.
this
I think
is
we're
it.
ready. Let's
First
stand up.
off, okay, here we go. He's
And,
out of the chair.
You know, last time I was on the show, we brought this up, and Pete was ready to punch me.
Right, yes.
But I said that the only real way that our work could reach enough people as we needed to actually change the world was to have the amplification of the world's greatest comic book podcast. I mean, would you agree with me?
What are you
Would you
doing?
agree with me?
I'm not going to help you not get punched in the
Right,
stomach.
exactly. The only
Stop
way-
pandering to our audience.
I'm not pandering at all. I'm
you
making
are
no
gesturing.
motions. I'm making, none whatsoever. The listening audience at home can understand that the seated audience is losing their minds right now. The only way that we are going to
People
change
want to
the
see me
world
punch you in the stomach.
is if I go on Comic Book Club and say, you got to download the Songularity from Botnik Studios. And that's what we said. The last time we agreed the reason you weren't going to punch me was because we hadn't yet put it to the true test, which was promoting it on Comic Book Club.
It's
true.
That's
it's true.
bullshit.
That
You
was
can't
last
punch
time.
this man now.
was
It's
last
been
time.
a year, you asshole. You didn't change shit.
That was in December.
Take your punch like a man.
I mean, that was in December, and we can all agree that that was enough time. Probably that was enough time, but I just remembered that was the episode that got deleted.
Yeah, that's true.
So we actually didn't get.
true.
We're gonna have to now.
never
Now that it's out
geez.
there. All right, we'll sit down. We'll,
All right,
we'll bring it up.
hold
Interesting,
on,
there
hold
was
on.
a
So sit down,
technology-
Pete.
No,
Sit down,
fuck
Pete.
that. I'm standing.
No, hold on.
Motherfucker's
Oh,
getting
now
punched.
you're
Notice how I
standing.
got him standing?
Yeah.
Look at his posture. He's erect.
Wow,
perfect.
this is, gorgeous.
Your posture is
His
wonderful.
spine is
you
aligned.
woke the beast. Now
Yeah,
you
there's
got to
so
take
much
your punch.
blood going to his head
Good
now.
job,
Look at
Nat.
it.
Yeah.
Hey,
You
I'm
woke
not
the
sitting
beast.
down until I'm punching you, motherfucker.
I'm sorry.
Here,
Let's settle
you
this.
start
Hold on.
punching, and something will get in the way.
Right. Pete, I understand you're upset. Here's what we're going to say. We're going to formalize an agreement right here, all right?
Okay.
It's been a year.
We'll formalize an
But we
agreement right
haven't
here.
talked about it on Comic Book Club.
Yes.
We need to see if the Comic Book Club
Given
audience,
we
the
are going to
greatest
give it
audience
the
in the world,
patented
can change it.
Comic Book Club bump
Yeah.
for the Songularity.
What are you talking
Everybody
about?
knows
The bump,
about this.
baby, the bump.
But, so this is the bump. This is the bump. But December...
It's the Big Easy, baby. Mardi Gras, the bump.
You got me the bump.
Who are you?
You got to give it the bump.
Yeah, gotta give the bump.
Yeah.
When was the Songularity first released?
Oh, last summer.
Last summer.
No, that was,
Okay,
that was
so-
a while ago.
So it was a while ago. So I
Early
think-
fall.
what
Early
was
fall.
going on?
You have a
2019.
bunch of hair on your back.
Oh, gross.
But we didn't have our official release.
No, that's my sweater. It's growing.
Oh, cool. That's a whole other issue.
You were literally picking stuff off of his sweater?
Well, I'm not ever. I never
He's-
sit this high, and there's.
He's slowly turning into a bottomless monkey.
You should punch
Alex, I actually want to.
That's a good point.
I should correct that. It went out to our Patreon backers last fall. We had the official album release show on January 2nd of this year, so it hasn't been that long.
Okay, so January 2nd. So here's what I'd say.
This is bullshit.
Hold on,
You
no,
get
no,
me
we're
worked
gonna
up
make an
like I'm
agreement.
going to punch him, and then I don't get to punch him.
Speaking as Nat and your legal representative, here's what I think we can set right
Good
now,
lawyer.
all right?
Oh, yeah,
it's a
good
good.
point.
Only a good lawyer could represent both sides.
This album was officially released on January 2nd, right?
Yes.
It is mid to late February now.
It's late. It's not mid, asshole.
I mean,
You know
it's
what?
a
Who
shorter
knows?
month.
It's a leap year, Pete.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I'll remind
Exactly.
you.
It's a
You know
longer-
what? Why don't you represent that, and I'll
Oh, I
represent.
like this. I
I'll
like
represent my client, Pete LePage.
All right.
My Jedi husband and client, Pete
Now,
LePage.
my client, Nat Towsen, released his album.
Wait, hold up. What is this? What is this hairy sweatered character doing?
Does my gorilla sweater upset you in some way? This is how I intimidate other people's clients.
I don't think
wearing
it's
a
confusing. If
sweater.
nothing else. All I'm saying is my client at a future date would like to punch you.
Can we agree?
Yeah, can we just
agree?
decide when I get to do that?
Here's
Hold
what I'm
on, we
saying.
need a sidebar. We
Next
need-
time, here's. Don't worry, I have a plan. Okay. So
You whispered that into
may
the
I talk
microphone.
directly to your client?
At your own risk. I don't talk.
This
I
is
don't
gonna
talk
be a little bit
directly
easier.
to him.
So it came out on January 2nd. Next time, don't punch me. I'm the
I'm
lawyer.
gonna punch somebody.
The next
Mr.
Somebody's
time,
getting punched.
please, we're very close to resolving this. Don't punch me, first off.
the next time Nat is on the show.
You said that last time.
No, but a legally binding agreement in front of God and all of these witnesses.
These judges.
If the world isn't different by that point,
You can't say general bullshit and say if the world isn't. He's got to have a certain number of downloads, a certain
He
number of
wasn't
things.
as easy
that,
to
like,
trick as I thought.
The original agreement.
I was going to do a leprechaun thing on him.
Okay, we'll do it. We'll do a different. Do a Rumpelstiltskin.
Oh, I was guessing.
No,
if you can guess Nat Towson's name,
I don't know.
No.
I think very easy. Very easy.
That's off the table. That's
Very
off the
easy.
table.
Here's the thing. It's up to Nat when he returns to the show to prove to you that he has changed the world. It's not about a number of downloads
accepting
because
these
the world
terms?
changes
Yeah, what do
in
you think about
sometimes
this?
small and sometimes great ways,
we originally
and we
said
don't
it was
always know
gonna change
that.
the world, but-
So,
Right.
hey,
yes. I'm conferring with my client.
I'm lawyering over
Would
here.
you like to see the backs of my
lawyering
gorilla
over
hair
here?
sweater again?
I've pulled off most of the hair at this
Oh,
point.
okay. I could create more.
Gross.
Was it my hair?
A lot of it was stuck all the way in.
Might have been my wife's.
Your wife's hair grows into your back?
I mean, we have a weird relationship.
It's on Nat to convince you that he has changed the world the next time that he comes here. We're going to give him a little more time to do that because it just dropped a month and
But this is on your
13 days
terms.
ago.
You get to determine this.
we need the audience to see if I can convince the audience.
I have conferred with my client. We
boy.
believe that
I'm going back to laying down. This is bullshit.
An arbiter.
The defense rests. Literally.
Next time Nat returns to the show, the audience will determine whether he has, in fact, changed the world based on palpable metrics provided by Nat Towsen.
This is good.
I'll tell you what, if the audience cheers louder for Nat than me next time he's on the show, I won't punch him. But if I get more cheers, I'm punching him in the stomach.
Yes,
and I don't care who the fuck you
That
pretend to
was
be.
implied. That was exactly what this deal was.
I didn't know my client was looking forward to punching someone so much, but
Wow.
he definitely is.
Well, I'll also mention if you punch my client in the stomach, you're going to jail. And now it's time for our next section, which we like to call the
punch.
stack.
The stack!
The stack. In the stack, we're going to talk about a couple of. We probably should plug your stuff. At the
Don't
end
worry
of
about it. Who cares?
All right,
I'll do it at the
we're going
end.
to move on with talk about a bunch of comics that come out this week. Let's talk about New Mutants #7 from Marvel Comics first. Nat, we'll actually talk to you first. You are really enjoying this book.
Yeah, I really like New Mutants has been really fun. It's sort of split right now between adventures that are happening on Earth in the Midwest somewhere, I believe, and then also deep in space near the Shi'ar Empire. And I'm enjoying that side, the space side of the story, a lot more, I think.
Yeah.
I think Jonathan Hickman, so he's writing both the main X-Men book and New Mutants right now. And I think he is really good at writing like really carefully plotted, extremely complicated sci-fi or superhero stories, but he's also really good at like the sort of fun side, like the personalities of the characters more. And sometimes I think he gets a little lost in, and not even lost because I love it, but he gets singularly focused on telling these really densely plotted stories that are incredible, and the degree to which they are complicated but consistent, and the payoffs feel earned is really amazing. But I think that sometimes the more complicated the story gets, he has fewer character moments. And I think what's been fun about this New Mutants arc is essentially the plot is that Bobby misses his friend Sam, who lives in space now, and so they go, let's get a spaceship and go to space.
Yeah.
And then inevitably they get tangled up in something that goes wrong. And then in the end of this issue, they're sort of like, all right, was that the goal?
Was that what
do
you
it? Was
wanted?
that what we wanted? And they were like, oh yeah, I guess kind of forgot why we were out here. Which is like, it was very fun though.
But what's tough is like, meanwhile, back on the island nation of Krakoa, they need them to get back. Like they need them for stuff. So it's like they're having this kind of carefree adventure, but they're fucking super needed back home.
It bothers you?
It bothers me.
What are they missing?
In which particular
I
regard?
think it's okay because it's taking place in a very compressed timeline, and that's all right. Like, I like having a fuck around book as part of the line.
And this definitely feels like there's a Dungeons and Dragons style game you play in the middle of this book if you want with a page
Yeah,
of
this
rules.
issue is perhaps the silliest that it's been so far.
There's
The
a whole-
recap is like 8 pages long in the beginning,
And there's a
it's,
whole
like, out of
meta
character.
moment where they're like, hey, man, you missed a couple issues where I think Danny is busting Roberto Acosta's balls about not remembering about the stuff happening on Earth. I mean, this is a book that started with like 5 New Mutants, and now there's like 10, and it's all over the place, and it's fun.
Yeah, and particularly because the rest of it is so serious and so "quote unquote" important, as you were mentioning. It's nice to have one that's just enjoyable, like classic X-Men hanging out.
Carefree.
It's not that carefree because you're like, motherfuckers, people need you
what do you
back
think
home.
they're missing on Earth?
yeah, how much
This is a
time-
Dude,
comic.
there have been issues where literally some of the X-Men are like, oh man, we want to do this thing, but we need fucking so-and-so who just stole the ship and went on a fucking joyride.
But this is comics. It's not like they're missing an appointment. They're not doctors that in the real world that have to do surgery. Like,
Sure.
but so the thing you take away from this is like they should be on Earth where they belong.
Well, the thing is, it's cool that they're having fun and chasing their friends around, but like, meanwhile, back home, shit's getting serious. Like, there are people in a fight circle getting murdered and stuff. Like, shit is going on.
I mean, I do see your point. I do, but I think Alex is right that like this all takes place between like X-Men 1 and 3. I could be wrong on that, but it seems like this not that much time has actually elapsed. The other side of this book, the stuff that's going on Earth, is a lot darker. Also, like that
definitely.
side is, the
Sad.
end of the previous issue was like
Very
But also, Hickman is
chilling,
writing
yeah.
that stuff, right?
What's
Isn't that Rob Williams or somebody is writing that?
Oh, are they trading off
I
on
think
it?
so.
I didn't realize that. That makes sense because this is much more Hickman's voice, and the fact that it is Hickman makes me wonder because he's very good at doing that thing where he leaves one dangling detail that you either go like, huh, like he'll do that a lot where there'll be. An example from this book is when they first saw the Shi'ar Death Squad. There's like a page that's like one of those info pages that's listing all of them, and then there's one on the list who's just not in the picture, and it's like, wonder where that is.
Yeah.
But that paid off in this issue. But there have been dozens of things like that since this run started, where he introduces some element, or there's like an info page, and one chapter is just blacked out of it, and those things are all going to eventually come back, I'm certain.
Yeah.
So what I'm wondering is, we're reading this. 4-issue arc of them having a fun space adventure. Like, what just got set up that's going to pay back into the continuity eventually?
Interesting. What do you think? Do you think this is going to pay off in the long run?
Yeah, I do. I mean, Hickman works by like putting a million things on the chessboard, and then puts like. Once all the chess pieces are there, he's like, I'll put some rocks up there, some Cheetos, any other random things. And they all
Lego
share-
guys, maybe.
A couple
Some,
Lego guys, who are very good at chess.
Some living mice.
Yeah, living mice.
We'll definitely pick this up. Let's move to another Marvel comic book, Runaways, number 30.
Yes, all the runaways in the
The
crowd.
loves it, yeah.
So the Runaways are playing at being superheroes. Of course, Gert suspects that something is wrong. This book is great every single time.
It's really good. I feel like with all the arcs in this new run, like each issue just slowly turns the volume up on the premise of each individual arc, and it's really well drawn. All the characters, it feels like the original Runaways in totally different stakes and situations.
Yeah, this is by Ray Morrell. Is the art by Chris Anka again, or is it somebody different?
The art is by, not Chris Anka, Andres Genole.
Oh, okay. Well, it definitely channels Chris
Yes, very
Anka's
in the
stuff.
style of Chris Anka.
Yeah.
Cool.
Oh, by the way, the art in the New Mutants book is also
What bothered
great.
you about this? Because they're running
What?
away from their problems. They should be at home.
Yeah, they should.
Do you miss home? Do you miss your home?
Yeah, maybe I do.
Why are you mad at me? I'm your lawyer. Don't
Don't come at me, bro. All
I'm
right.
not coming at you. I'm asking you questions.
Pete, just to throw something out at you, there are a couple of pillows backstage. Do you want me to throw them out so you can recline even further?
Or would you like to punch them? I don't know.
Ooh, yeah,
Sure.
probably
That'll be
punch
good.
them. Yeah.
Are you just getting prepped for Passover? Right?
What?
Yeah, one guy laughed.
It's a holiday where you recline.
You let things pass over you? Is that?
Nope.
Yeah, like blankets.
It's actually very active and bloody and dark. I'll tell you the Passover. You can come to my Seder this year.
Wow.
Sweet.
That would be finally. It'd be nice
Yeah.
to be invited.
Come by the
How many
Seder.
chairs have you left empty?
Just the one.
Why? There's two of us.
I know, but neither of you are Elijah.
Huh? Leave three open. Elijah he never shows up.
Yes. It's very weird.
It's rude.
We invite him every
It's
year.
rude. We'll leave three empty, and we'll take two of them.
Okay, I'll leave glasses of wine there, and when I turn back, they'll be gone.
Ooh.
Yeah, the wine will be gone, or will be gone. We'll be
whichever.
gone with all
Hopefully
of your treats.
both.
Yeah.
Hey, Alex, what about instead of like eating bitter herbs at your Seder, you had like a Subway meatball sub? Do you think that would bring in?
That's about the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll have a Subway meatball sub with cheddar cheese at my Jewish Seder.
Yeah. Just
sounds
to
good.
represent what the early Hebrews had to
On bread,
experience.
right?
If
A
a-
Passover Seder?
Oh, yo, I'm sorry. You're right. Not on a sub, on matzo ball. I'm sorry, a matzo ball sub on matzah with the marinara sauce.
That sounds
I
good.
mean, now it's actually sounding a little like my Seder.
Honestly, if Elijah's anything like Pete, I think he'll finally show up if there's a Subway.
All right, that's what we're going to talk about. This is from DC Black Label, Wonder Woman Dead Earth.
Woohoo!
Volume
Yeah.
2. I think
Yeah,
it's volume
now we're
2,
talking.
book 2.
Dead Earth.
Now we're
So
talking.
this is a post-apocalyptic tale of Wonder Woman traveling through I want to say, dead Earth. And it is by
Yeah.
Daniel Warren Johnson, who Pete loves so much, he bought the T-shirt. Pete, you want to
Made
talk
the
about
I
this
did,
book?
made a T-shirt, and then
You paid
lovely
for it, right?
people bought also a T-shirt for me.
Yeah.
But this is fantastic. Really showcasing amazing art, and the action is phenomenal. And it's kind of Wonder Woman fighting her way through this landscape, a very exciting way. And she has Batman's utility belt, so
Yeah.
pretty badass.
The best part of Batman, his belt.
Oh, man, come on.
Name a better part.
Yeah.
Batman.
Whoa.
Touche.
Damn, that's a good answer.
Okay.
What did you think about this book, Justin?
This book is great. I love it's a sort of omnibus style format. It's a larger and much the art. You just get to see the art more. The great, really well showcased there, Mr. Vanna
I will
White.
say it makes a great hat if you're entering on stage.
That's true. We've proven that tonight. And it is a lot like Murder Falcon in that it's like very intense action, big emotions. Wonder Woman's going through. We get flashbacks to her coming up and what it was like for her to be too powerful, then powered down, and now she's on this dead Earth where she has to use all of her faculties to try to save those small humans that are left.
Yeah, and the monsters are great. If you read Murder Falcon, you know that he draws incredible monsters. Here, they're even grosser and bigger in a very specific way. Fantastic stuff.
Yeah, this book, like, I think that I'm sure that I have complained about this on the show before, but like the thing that sort of
Watch yourself.
Okay. What are you going to do? Punch me?
Uh-oh, I think he's
My
adding another.
lawyer's here.
Yeah, I'll punch your lawyer,
I'll
too.
protect him.
He's going to punch through your lawyer. Yeah. Let's be honest.
It's like a hole through Alex's stomach.
I am Jack. What were you going to say?
Catchphrase.
The thing that I think has kept me from like reading DC Comics consistently for a long time is that the house style of their art is so much more locked down than other publishers, like specifically Marvel, but also obviously independent publishers. And like they had that brief publishing initiative. I think it was DCU, like YOU, where they had Babstar drawing Batgirl, and they had like a bunch of sort of like Tumblr artists and people like brought in a bunch of like different newer looking art styles. And then I feel it was like 6 months, and they're like, actually, let's make it look like it's 2000 again. And I think I don't know exactly when, because DC didn't look. I think it was consistent, but it wasn't this consistent look until like digital coloring took over, and like they started using gradients for everything. And I just like most DC books, they kind of just all look the same to me, and some there's like better ends of that. Like I like Greg Capullo on Batman and stuff like that. But like I think he did like the best interpretation of that, and I think they gave him a longer leash than most people. This feels like an Image book. Like this is, I love this. Like I love seeing these characters drawn with like a much more expressive style and like flatter, not quite as like fluorescent colors, and like this feels like I don't know. It reminds me of like. I mean, this is a little more cartoonish, but like Headlopper or They're Not Like Us. One of
it's
those
sort of like
books.
a modernized Frank Miller, you could even say, a little bit.
Yeah, and it's definitely like it's not terribly off model or anything like that, but it's not those like hard black outlines to everything, and the coloring is a little bit more muted. It's really beautiful, and it's amazing that they're getting the chance to do that with one of the like top 3 characters that they have.
Yeah, it's great.
It's great stuff. Definitely pick that up, and that's it for the stack.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to move on to our next section, which is my favorite section because you all make it up. It's your audience question.
Yeah.
And for that, I'm going to come out to you. You're going to ask a
Go
question.
get them, Salbs.
What?
Go get him.
Oh, thanks,
Get that
guys.
audience.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Watch out. I don't want to knock over your beer, man.
Take him down a peg.
I saw this hand to
Alex
go
is
up
doing
first.
a lot of characters tonight. You know,
You should see him lately.
Oh, dude, he's
really.
more characters now.
Yeah,
expanding.
no, it's like my thing.
this is like kind of a
He's
like a
gonna knock over
70s
his own
Dennis
beer.
Hopper character.
Yeah.
I
He was doing
think
that
he's
for
having a
second.
psychotic break.
Yeah.
good
for the show,
crazy.
Hi, my name is Brandon, and I'll try to keep it quick so that there's enough time for Elijah's question. So,
Nice.
what I
Oh, that's
We
ominous.
just leave the mic alone for Elijah.
right. Okay. So, what I wanted to know is, since you're creating robots to replace us in our jobs in comedy,
Well said.
Wow.
No, actually, it's not.
but
Well said.
But what I was wondering is, are you working on an AI that can also make people, as damaged, like an AI that could be as much a mess as, say, Richard Pryor? I just rewatched Blade Runner, and so like, is Rutger Hauer's shitty poetry in that like a stepping stone to an AI Richard Pryor?
Wow.
No, obviously not. But
Interesting.
But I mean, you definitely can. I mean, I didn't get to this in the beginning because Pete was threatening to physically harm me, but essentially, okay, I have the microphone now, but essentially, I mean, and Alex alluded to this. Anytime someone shows you something, you go, "Oh, this was written by an AI. This was written by a bot." They're leaving out a part of the story. Essentially, AI technology, at least as it currently exists, is not capable of producing something long form and coherent that would actually mimic another person. So most of what you're seeing and what we focus on is collaborations between people and technology. And I would argue that that's been since the pencil, that's been the way that art has progressed, is a sort of meeting point and interaction between humans and technology.
You cool with pencils, Pete?
Nah, man.
What about me? I was going to say mechanical pencils. Is that what the line is?
Fuck that shit.
Yeah.
He writes with like a stone on the sidewalk.
Yeah, he's taking jobs away from birds.
Yeah.
He used to use bird feathers for writing.
Yeah, taking jobs away from birds who used to sell their feathers to our founding fathers, and that's why they wrote the Constitution.
Well, it got weird.
And the birds used to get money out of that, and you killed their business.
USA. USA.
Oh, my God. What
This
happened?
has taken a turn.
Yeah.
Anyway, the point being, it's a collaboration between a person and an AI. But you could, if you wanted to, for example, take one of our tools and plug a full Richard Pryor stand-up routine into it, and then see what results you would get from that, and use that to write your own Richard Pryor
Probably
stand-up.
something better than he could have done.
Oh, come on. Holy shit, guys.
Interesting.
Wow.
What was that with Superman 3, right?
Oh, come on.
I mean,
That's the main thing he's known from.
that was his stand-up special, I believe.
Excuse me,
Superman
Alex.
3.
He was number one on Comedy Central, featuring Sierra Mist's 100 Greatest Comics of the 20th Century.
Yeah.
I apologize.
the
I
definitive
apologize.
list.
Yeah.
Sierra Mist, everyone's favorite comedy soda.
It was featured heavily
true.
into
It's
this
true.
several hour long
Very funny soda.
Oh, it is. Of all the sodas.
What would you say the second funniest soda is?
I mean, Mountain
Mr.
Dew.
Pibb, dude.
Mr. Pibb is the
kills.
funniest soda.
Right.
Because they took Dr. Pepper and were like, nah, you didn't go to school.
Mr. Pibb sounds like he wears a bowler hat. As far as
He does.
Good evening,
I
I
think.
am Mr. Pibb. Would you like to try my tonic, my soda tonic?
a sip of my elixir, if you will.
Yeah.
My name is Kevin.
Hi, Kevin.
Okay. Besides Pete and Superboy, what do you think are some of the definitive punches in comic history?
Ooh,
that's
great
good.
question. Superboy, obviously the famous
Superboy Prime, he's talking about,
yes,
who punched
the famous
reality.
crisis punch.
Yeah.
It was like one of the first like Captain America comics where he punched out Hitler.
Yeah,
That was
Captain
one of
America
the-
#1 on the
Yeah.
cover, yeah.
I would say that's my answer.
My answer is also a Captain America punch, but it's Infinity Gauntlet 4, I think, where they have this huge scheme to get close to Thanos, and they're like, everyone has their own little part, and it ends with Captain America just punching him in the face.
It doesn't work.
It doesn't end up
Yeah, it doesn't
working,
work.
but
I
it's,
love
but
that
it's such a
issue,
great
though.
moment that it all like capitulates in that like one punch, but then he gets the gauntlet back.
We didn't say the Superman Doomsday.
That's
punch.
what I was going to
You
say. That was going to
that?
be my answer as well.
Yeah, they killed each other by
They
punching
kill each other
in
with
the
one
fist.
punch. Yeah, the
That always
timing on that.
confused me.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like you'd break your fist, maybe it would unfurl a little bit, but that's not the thing that would kill you.
Even when I read that, I was like, "That's convenient." As a kid,
Wait,
I
when
was
they,
like,
when they both punch each other to death like
They
simultaneously.
But not
fought.
even
They
in
had
the
fought for like a
chest.
week.
You know what bothered me about that the most is that if you look at that issue, Superman's fingers are interlocked. And if you ever
Yes.
learn anything, like if you ever do martial arts, they'll never do that. You'll break your fingers if you do that. Superman swings like this.
Yeah, it's
up
like
at
a
Doomsday's
volleyball.
jaws with,
It's
with
not
all of his
normal
fingers.
fingers, man. He's Superman.
Yeah,
Maybe
but
that's what
Doomsday's
killed him.
got a normal jaw.
That's
Like,
what killed him. The fingers.
he broke his fingers. Yeah.
He was like, "Ow, ow, 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 ow! Oh, my fingies!"
He died of
My
embarrassment.
fingies.
Yeah, that's been bothering me since high school, and this is the first time it's come up in probably
Oh, wow,
over a
that's
decade.
good.
But yeah,
Wow.
don't interlock your fingers to hit
Hey,
someone. You'll break
maybe
your fingers.
something's been bothering that long. Talk to a therapist or something.
Wow. Okay.
Pete's coming at you at all angles here. He's like,
yeah.
"I'm going to punch you." Also, you need to see a fucking therapist. You need to get your head straight and then your face because I'm
And
going to mess
Pete
it
knows
up.
something about therapy. He's not even in therapy. He's lying down on a couch right now.
That's right.
This is Pete's weekly therapy. It's not going well.
I think we can take another question if anybody's got one. Anybody have a question about anything? Comment?
Anything at all.
Oh, you got another one.
we've got
Come
another
over
question.
here.
Coming in hot, more AI.
Taking up Elijah's
I was
spot.
just going to throw in Batman Guy Gardner in Justice League. One punch. It was just one punch. That one.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a good one,
That's
too.
a good one.
Yeah.
There we go.
There are more punches.
I don't remember that one.
Yes.
Actually.
Those are the only punches in comic books.
Yeah.
Do we have any other questions? Nothing?
There's all the lasers.
All right. We're going to move on. Oh, Kevin, did you have
Kevin?
another one?
Oh, we got another question.
All right. Back and forth, back and forth. Kevin, what's
Kevin,
going on?
tennis
What are your favorite
match
kicks?
questions.
Another quick one.
Best kicks.
Favorite amorphous characters.
Amorphous.
Like the gas guy who was on the ship in the New Mutants we were talking about.
Oh, okay.
Is that what you mean? With the guy,
Does that count?
like blobby, goofy.
Nick Nolte in the first Hulk movie as Absorbing Bad. He was a
That's-
big old
yeah.
cloud.
That's your answer?
That's your
That's your
favorite?
favorite?
That's your
love it.
favorite.
I
And your
love it.
favorite was
That's your
Nick
favorite?
Nolte.
Yeah, I
Your
love Nick
favorite
Nolte.
in a amorphous character in a comic book is Nick Nolte, the actor who played
I gotta say,
You
that's
know
a,
what?
that's a
Villain?
controversial answer.
I have
in
spoken.
the second Hulk movie.
I have spoken.
Is that
Okay.
He says that in The Mandalorian.
No, he
He's
says
doing
that a lot now. He says, Alex has spoken. and we're supposed to be
he's
like,
doing a
okay,
Mandalorian
Alex
thing.
spoke.
He's doing a Mandalorian. Okay.
I have spoken.
I like. Okay.
Great character.
We would have got it the first
That's a
time.
fourth or fifth
That's a
character of
fifth
the night.
character.
Yeah.
Alex is having an identity crisis.
Oh, you're not going to suggest therapy for him. But
right.
I'm just mad about a comic
No, I'm
book.
good to
Okay.
go. I just got to do a couple more voices. And
Yeah, exactly.
then I'll nail
You're-
that audition.
You're like Joaquin Phoenix, like a third of the way into the Joker, right? You're like pre-stare dance. But fine.
Yeah, I'm just doing like this fucked up shit with my body.
That's good.
Wow,
Hey,
stop,
there's
please.
nothing weird about that.
Oh my God, I'm gonna have nightmares. Stop moving.
I'm going to go home on the subway tonight. Some dudes will be singing sod time at me. I'll be like, oh, that's fucking it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Here we go.
I mean, Alex,
I
has
don't
always,
get that reference because I didn't make it through that piece of shit movie.
You didn't see. I think you need
man.
to watch it just so you can look for the warning signs and that happening in Alex. So that's my
Yeah, if your
recommendation
friend
for you.
has early onset Joker, you want to know.
Toot sweet.
amorphous characters.
I like the in the post-crisis DC universe how Supergirl was just like a pink blob.
That's
for
a
while.
great answer. I actually really like that as well. That was Peter David was writing it. I think.
The
It was
Matrix or whatever that character was
It
called.
was super weird,
Yeah.
and she was like mostly as Supergirl, but could just be blobby for some reason.
Yeah, or
That's-
sometimes we get like hit really hard or electrocute or like pass out and then just turn into like a blob. I don't.
Yes.
The continuity of that was a little confusing because then they merged the characters.
It
at one
was
point.
confusing. She
But
had
at one
brown
point,
hair when she was
Well,
Yeah.
not to get back to the death of Superman, but that's one of the weirdest
it.
things about trying to read that now because you have pieces of continuity like that where you get like it's this broad span of the DC universe, and then in the middle it's like Supergirl, she gets punched by Doomsday and explodes into the silly putty, and you're like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, and she's
Yeah.
dating Lex Luthor at the time. I
She's
believe
dating
who's
Lex
who's a
Luthor,
good
who's
guy.
the
we
big
think.
red bearded Lex Luthor.
Lex Luthor 2.
Lex Luthor 2.
But he was
supposed-
actually secretly the
Lex
original
Lu-
Lex Luthor's brain put into a clone of himself.
right, and passing himself off as Lex Luthor's son.
Right, exactly. And
Comics
everyone thought
are
it was-
fun.
Yeah, it was
perfect
fun.
sense.
I like that run, but
Great amorphous blob.
yeah,
Does dupe count?
He's
just a regular blob.
Morphous. He's
Yeah.
Morphous.
He's Morphous.
I knew
he
I
doesn't
didn't.
stretch.
I think even my answer is stretching it. It's blobby, but not so amorphous. Well, yeah, dude's just kind of a amorphous blob. Yeah, a amorphous blob.
Oh, yeah, wow. Confusing.
Yeah, very confusing.
I guess, I mean, Clayface from Batman. I feel like we talked about Batman the Animated Series a lot on this
We do.
show lately,
Yeah.
but we talked about that, I think, maybe last week. But that's the first thing that came to mind. That 2-part episode where he's the actor that becomes Clayface.
How about the character in the original Young Justice run, who I think's name was Secret, I want to say, who was just sort of like a gas, like, she was kind of a ghost, but she was just sort of like a gaseous creature. Do you guys remember what I'm talking about?
That was meant to be sort of their Raven.
Yeah, sort of. But it was like I think the character was just known as Secret or her first name or something like that because it was the original conceit was that they had rescued her from like a research facility,
Yeah.
and that they were pretending not to know who she was, or they were pretending that she wasn't part of the team, and then everyone was chasing them to try to get to her, like whatever government agency or Roxxon or whatever it was they stole her from.
Yeah,
that's like the first issue, I think.
She was their secret. And that was back when there was like the Justice League was all those heroes. Teen Titans was the second generation that mapped all those same heroes, and then Young Justice still also did that. For some reason.
Well, they also had the Justice Society. Also, they had that was like late before a few years before they did the New 52 reboot to simplify things, where there were basically like World War I, World War II, Cold War, 90s, and then a sort of fifth generation of every character coming in. So there were like
5
8 flashes
layers of the same idea.
Right, and they had
It's like
merged.
someone being like, I have a great idea. What if it's younger that?
Yeah, exactly.
Over and over again.
Well, they'd also, when they did Crisis on Infinite Earths, they were like, there's too many alternate realities. They merged like the last 5 of them. But what that meant was that except for like Superman and Wonder Woman, I guess, there were like at least two versions of every character right there from different generations. Like there was the Jay Garrick Flash and
there are too many Flashes.
Yeah, there were at some point like 7 or 8 Flashes, I think.
Yeah.
It's a lot of Flashes.
Yeah.
All right, that's it for your questions.
Yeah.
We're going to move on to trivia. And for that, we're going to turn it over to Pete LePage.
I will say real quick, sorry to jump the music there, but in the review of the comics we've said, I've set another clue to the actual thing to get the Starman quiz.
Wow.
Wow. Well, if he told you when,
just
you'd
have
know.
to listen. Were you listening to when I was talking?
Wait, you also both times talked about the Batman the Animated Series.
Oh, interesting.
That was in audience questions, which is I'm talking about the stack.
Oh,
I said last week. I said
Yeah.
the actual phrase split up, and this week I said a clue, a 3-word clue in the things that I said.
So I'll tell you what, you guys should probably run this through a transcription software and then put it through a word cloud generator and see what you can come up with.
I actually head it over to Botnik Studios, and actually we can generate some new Justin lines in case Justin's ever not here.
Oh,
That will be under helpful, but
Eventually, we'll all be replaced by an AI. Take it away, Pete.
All right, so this part we give back to you, the lovely audience. It's an opportunity to win $25 free in the form of a gift card to Midtown Comics. Who would like $25 free? A simple raising of the hand. Yes, you first hand up person.
First
Come on down.
Here we go. Come
Casual
on down over
hand
here.
up.
all the way in the back.
Yeah,
go. Please
hello.
come over.
Yeah, right there. What is your name?
Megan.
Megan, audience Megan.
Hi.
All right, Megan, I'm going to read you a question. Listen to all 3 possible answers. Get all 3 questions right. $25 yours. Yep. All right,
Right.
so today's trivia is on topical comic news. Okay. Question number 1. Who said a showdown is coming between Hickman's X-Men and the rest of the Marvel U? Is it A, Jason Aaron, or is it B, Dan Slott, or is it C, Rick Moranis?
Ooh.
I really thought he was going to say Rick Remender and have an actual themed answer for once.
Yeah.
Jason Aaron.
Jason Aaron is
Nice.
correct.
Wow.
Well, all right, here we go. Question number 2. Lock and Key will be doing a crossover event with the Sandman universe in October called blank. Is it A, Mr. Sandman, give me a key? Or is it B, Helen Gone? Or is it C, Eugene Levy? So it's either A, Mr. Sandman, give me a key, or B, Helen Gone.
B.
B is correct.
Yeah. I love how you lightly sang that first clue, that first answer.
Thank you.
It's really good.
All right, here we go. Last one.
I don't know if I've ever said this right. You are a star. You're truly a
I
star.
hate you. I hate you so much. All right, last one. Who takes the spotlight in Archie Comics number 712? Is it A, Katie Keene? Wow, that seems very topical. Or is it B, Pops? Or is it C, Mary Gross? So it's either A if you would like $25, or you could pick something else.
I'll guess A.
A is correct. $25 yours.
Nice.
Congratulations, Megan.
Congratulations. I will say Mary Gross does sound like an Archie character.
Yeah, it does.
Now, I'll mention there's
I want
a
the Pops
secret.
original
And a
series.
Garbage Pail Kid.
There is a secret quiz hiding in Pete's quiz. The 3 clues were Rick Moranis, Mary Gross, and Eugene Levy.
Eugene Levy.
It's all a Robin Williams movie for some reason. Kevin, which is it?
I'm thinking Club Paradise.
Club Paradise is correct, sir. Way to go, Kev. Way to go,
Incredible.
Kev.
There we go. And of course, Kevin wins for getting that. Nothing. Okay. All right.
Was there a prize for that?
No prizes, I guess.
No.
It's just Kevin has the satisfaction knowing that he's a smart individual.
The ultimate prize is knowing that you're smart.
Yep.
And I think Kevin gets to punch you.
Nope. As my lawyer, you know that's not correct.
Okay, just testing the waters. Like a good lawyer, I'm testing the truth at all times.
I think you're going to want to take this deal. As we all know, tomorrow is New Comic Book Day. We recommend you go to Midtown Comics because they've been nice enough to sponsor the show. Pete, what are you looking forward to?
Oh, thank you so much for asking.
Anytime, Pete.
I'm looking forward.
You know what? Not anytime, once a week.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's good.
I'm looking forward to Finger Guns #1.
Okay.
And speaking of finger guns, I'm also looking forward to Punisher Soviet #4 of 6.
Yeah, he doesn't use regular guns. He uses only finger guns in that issue.
But they're guns that shoot fingers.
Honestly, that's what I want. I want a Punisher comic that just him going, pew, pew, pew.
It's not Star Wars. He
Bang.
wouldn't say pew. Yeah, he would say.
Yeah.
He would say bang?
Yeah.
Do they have the trademark on Pew? Like, is it like thwip? Like you can't say like Pew in a different comic
No,
book?
Florence Pugh actually has.
That's true. That's what I meant. Florence Pugh. Florence Pugh. Pew, pew. Florence
Wow.
Pugh.
It's really working with the audience, I gotta say.
I'm looking forward to X-Men #7.
Wait, is that the one where they're just sitting around
No.
talking?
It comes out tomorrow.
It comes out tomorrow.
So it's a comic that we won't read until the future.
Oh, right. My bad.
You haven't read it.
It is Tuesday night. It comes out tomorrow.
That's exactly right. What are you talking
I
about?
don't know. I got confused.
Yeah, you got really confused.
Sure.
It's a great issue. I already read it. And what happens is... I'm just kidding, Alex.
Oh, look how mad he is. Look at those eyeballs.
I
Look at the
He's not
beady
mad.
eyeballs
He's not-
come out.
I'm
That's when
sorry.
you know you're in trouble.
I pulled off too much hair from his sweater, and now he's angry.
Fucking eyeballs start shaking with rage.
That's what keeps me calm.
It keeps his
The hair. Oh, I
that
think I have
little
another one.
hairy,
Yeah.
the hairy hug of the back of his sweater. X-Men #7. Excited to check it out. It's a comic with Cyclops. We've been talking about the X-Men universe a lot, where there's so many ideas on the table, and it feels like this issue is really going to solidify one aspect of that. Also, Ice Cream Man #18.
God damn it.
Uh,
One of my favorite comics. Great.
You can't
I
do
just
that.
trying
Now
to give you more
Zalben
time.
doesn't have one.
Sure.
Because I made you angry.
No, you didn't make me.
You know what?
Two
I'm going to
packs?
represent you as well. I'm going to be your lawyer.
This is my lawyer, by the way. He'll be representing
boy.
me from now on.
Po Bono.
No, I'm representing you in your fight with me.
I will say we're going to have reviews of both those comics that Justin mentioned in our Stack podcast tomorrow that goes up Wednesday at 9 a.m. in the Comic Book Club feed and in its own feed, so check it out there, and we'll have plenty of reviews. I was going to choose one of those two things, but you took
What about other comics?
Do you like any
I
other
can
comics?
think
Alex?
of, I don't know, Falcon and Winter Soldier #1. That's a
there
fun
we go.
book.
Wow, that's
That's pairing up two comic book characters. They're going to get together, and I think they're going to agree on everything. Now, what are you looking forward to?
In that vein, I like two comic book characters, so I'm going to check out Giant Size X-Men, Jean Grey, Jean Grey / Emma Frost #1 by Jonathan Hickman and Russell Dauterman, I think. I mean, we've sang the praises of the X-Men's really good right now. All the books are really good. I really like to see. I've liked almost every concurrent series that's coming out, and I'm interested to see what they do with like spotlight books like this, because I think giving Hickman even though the main title has been sort of each issue is about something different, like giving him a longer issue to just sort of flesh out some of these characters. And I want to figure out what's going on with Jean Grey and Emma Frost, and are they swingers now? And also is she wearing that Marvel Girl costume? And like maybe they'll get into some of the stuff that happened before Dawn of X that doesn't make any sense yet.
As we read in Dawn of X, everybody fucks.
Yeah,
There
it does seem that way.
FUX. That was in the number 3.
There was my favorite part at the end of that is when Rodney Dangerfield came out and said, "We're all going to get laid."
Yeah, that's true. It's weird that he's a mutant.
Well, they brought him back to life. That's what happened.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, very sad.
That was the Jonathan Hickman was like, the X-Men can bring any mutant back to life and Rodney Dangerfield.
I finally got respect. How was
Now
that?
that's a good character. That's a good. That's right on the plate for you.
Thank you.
I think
Nat.
Rodney Dangerfield's mutant powers sticking his eyeballs way out.
Yeah. Anyway. It's somehow being in movies for 40 years.
Yeah.
Oh, he was boo. Back to school was great.
Yeah, it was.
Ladybugs?
No way.
I don't know why I'm looking directly at you.
It is weird how
It's
much you're
very
looking at
romantic.
Nat.
Back to school was fucking great, Nat, in your face.
No, I
what
like
do you
it.
want to plug? What's coming up for you?
Yeah, well, we didn't talk about it in the beginning for good reason. We had litigation to get through, but I host a show every Sunday night at the People's Improv Theater. Not this one, across town at the People's Improv Theater Underground, called New Material Night. It's a stand-up comedy workshop. It features me and some local comedians, and usually a headlining comedian. Last week it was David Cross. Was headlining the week before that. I believe it was Janine Garofalo.
You had Jordan Klepper recently. You had Asif Manvi for a long time. Like, you have great guests.
Yeah, we always have great guests, and there's drop-ins. You never know who's going to be there. Next week, we have Otto Fernandez and Mike Kaplan are going to be there. The following week, Roy Wood Jr. from The Daily Show is headlining.
Oh, man.
So, yeah, every Sunday night, 8 p.m. at the People's Improv Theater. It's $10, and you get to see professional comedians doing stuff that they probably wouldn't do in a more formal environment. And it's like a really cool sort of workshop show where you see something that you won't see anywhere else. So check
That's
it out.
awesome. Definitely go to that. Couple of things we're going to plug before we go. The show is free to come see and free to listen to, but it does cost us a bit of money to do. If you want to support it, patreon.com/ what?
Nothing. You're right. It's costing us a fucking arm and a leg.
Well, these legal fees alone.
Yeah, exactly. We're all billing each other for the legal fees. It's horrible.
I'm actually your lawyer.
Yeah.
So.
Pete, honestly, Pete's paying out the ass.
I want to mention past 8 o'clock, so I'm going to have to bill you for this hour.
That's a whole other bill of hour. That's how you make money on podcasts.
Patreon.com/comic book club. You can support us there and get some fun bonuses at the same time. We also have a couple of other podcasts that we're running right now. Riverdale After Dark, our Riverdale podcast is going every Wednesday night after that show. Katie Keencast, our Katie Keen podcast, is every Thursday after that show. Also ongoing is our Lock and Key podcast, Lock and Key Unlocked, where we're currently recapping the Netflix show. We're about 2/3 of the way through that.
So we're getting so close to that.
Oh, my God. I'm
Very
so
close to the
scared.
end.
And it's crazy for a show that everyone has already binged. I'm not binging it because we're doing the podcast.
Yeah.
And it sucks.
Yes. Sorry about that. I will say, I mean, we should probably say that for that podcast, but Netflix put out its top 10 list today, and it's still number 3, like
It's
3
crazy.
weeks on.
It has a little tab that says top 10.
Yeah, very
What
cute.
a great that the show we like is liked by so many.
It was weird. I clicked on it a bunch of times on the top 10 thing, and it didn't say Dr. Zalbin coming season 2 or anything like that, but I'm sure that's functionality they'll put in later.
Yeah, definitely. I don't think they've announced season 2 yet, right?
Yeah.
No, they haven't.
Though, so I feel like it'd be weird to plug Dr. Zalbin specifically.
Well, you got to get the fans excited.
Yeah.
So they keep binging.
You think they're
that's
going to do sort of like maybe a road tour? Like they'll do like show Dr. Zalbin in different cities leading up to season 2.
Yeah. Hello, I'm here to check on your spine.
Yeah.
I'm here to mix up your x-rays.
That is not a thing he did.
He did mix up
He
things.
makes them up.
I mean, maybe I didn't.
It was
read
one
that.
page. You didn't read the one page with you on it?
I skipped over
That's
that
literally what happens. He's like,
I
I mixed
skipped
up
over
the
that
x-rays.
page.
You didn't read about you?
I didn't read it.
That seems.
Didn't see that interesting.
Wow. You're like, I know me, Skip.
How many
I got
panels
this.
into the page did you get?
Wife, 2 kids, I get it.
Wow, what a dreamer.
Pete, what do you want to plug?
Friend us on Facebook so you get to know about the amazing guests we have on our show.
That's right. The punchable guests like Nat Towsen. Follow us on Twitter at Comic Book Live.
Check us out at comicbookclublive.com for this podcast and many more. You can subscribe and listen on iTunes, Android, Spotify, Stitcher, or the app of your choice. A couple of people we want to thank before we go. We want to thank Nat for being on the show.
Stop it. Keep going.
Roddy Ryan.
Rotten.
But most of all, we want to thank you all. We're here every single Tuesday at 7 p.m. totally free. Next week, we're going to have Hurricane Helms, a wrestler from the WWE.
We're going to see Monday Night Raw the night before the show and talk about what we saw.
He's going to be here next week, so definitely come to that one. That should be a lot of fun.
And he's going to punch me.
And he's going to punch Nat. See you next time.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming out, everybody. Thank you.